I think the first thing is you need to know what you're talking about, right? If you go to the CEO and say, listen, we should do our financials in a different way, or cost in a different way, but you have no idea about financial management or accounting or anything like that, then you must prepare for it to be a bit of a humbling experience. But so definitely know what you're talking about and come with or think it through and make sure that you're being reasonable, you have a good idea or whatever. And then the important part is you can either then decide to sort of bitch and moan about it and complain and be unhappy in what you do, and you can start looking for a different job and you can leave. But not everyone wants to do that, right? Because some people sometimes, hopefully what you have is a love for the company and a passion for the company. But it's like, if we could just do a few things differently, we would really go from so to no. So definitely from to so
exactly.
So so I think that's the starting point. Make sure you know where you're unhappy or where you see there's an issue, or if it's within your own role, or if it's within the company, or the way the company does things, or costs things, or sells things, or makes things, or whatever. Because there's always room for improvement and increasing efficiencies in any company. No company is perfect, and there's always room for improvement. So that's the first thing, and that's easy, because if anyone thinks about your job now, and you ask the question, is there something you don't like about your job, or is there something you think your work or your company could do better? You're like, we do this badly, we do this badly, we do this badly. So there you go. First step is you've identified problems, know what you're talking about, or know your the area at least that you're going to approach. Like, I'm not going to go to the software developers and say they should start coding in a different language because I think it's better. That's you're going to come off as a bit arrogant and underprepared. But once you have that, so important. Now you've got a problem statement, something where you can add value, because it comes down to you need to add value to the company or you need to add more value to the company by doing something different than what you're doing now. And that's how I moved to the starting the innovation department, because I showed that I can add value if I do this. I'm passionate about this. I can do this. I have this idea to solve a problem that we all know is a problem. And that is, it always has to come back to value, because your job is not a training house, but you're also not a volunteer. So, you have to make sure that you're actually giving something back to the company. All right. So now we've got, find a problem, make sure what you're talking about, you know what you're talking about. Third step is come up with some ideas. And here's a very important lesson or a tip that I can give you, a very practical tip, is don't come up with ideas by yourself. The very first or the very, very, very best person to come up with ideas for is whoever's going to be your biggest detractor. The person who's going to fight change the most, or your
advocate,
the final boss, essentially, that you have to convince. Because if you can convince the person that will give the biggest resistance to change or to a big idea, if you can convince them or encourage them or inspire them that there might be better ways to do this, and then you will not come at a stage where you're like, look at this idea, I have this amazing idea, and someone's like, no, but we tried that 2 years ago and it failed miserably. You didn't think of these 5 things. You're like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. So